Hello, curious soul. Welcome back to the Little Weird Podcast, your cozy corner in the strange, the sacred, and the almost real. I'm your host, Jane, the overthinker in residence and your humble curator of curiosities. Tonight's question floats gently on the edge of waking and sleep. Where do we go when we dream? Is it just the mind unraveling the mess of the day? Or do we cross into something else? Another place, another self, or another realm altogether? This episode invites you to lie back, close your eyes, and drift with me into that mysterious landscape we visit each night. We'll explore what science says, what the ancients believe, and the strange, sacred space in between. You'll hear about lucid dreams, spirit visitations, parallel lives, and the odd feeling that sometimes a dream isn't just a dream. So whether you're listening from your bed, your bus ride, or a quiet midnight walk, thank you for joining me again. Let's leave behind the waking world for a while. Let's begin. Before dreams were divine messages, they were neurochemical storms. Sleep isn't one long stretch of unconscious rest. It's a carefully orchestrated sequence, cycling through phrases that unlock different aspects of brain and body repair, almost like passing through the rooms of a mysterious house. Let's open the first door. Non-rapid eye movement, or NREM. This is the first major phase of sleep. It's like stepping into the quiet basement of your mind, where blueprints are drawn and dusty memories are shelved neatly. This stage has three sublevels, going from light dozing to deep slow wave sleep. During the deepest level, your body repairs itself. Tissue grows, muscles rebuild, growth hormones are released. The brain begins memory consolidation, filing away short-term memories like a diligent librarian placing books on the correct shelves. It's here where theta brainwaves begin to appear, slower and dreamier than our daytime beta waves. Theta states are often linked with creativity, inspiration, and insight. That moment just before you fall asleep when a strange idea drops into your head, that's your theta brain whispering. Then comes rapid eye movement, or REM sleep, typically about 90 minutes into your slumber. This is the grand stage. The lights flicker, neurons fire, and the curtain lifts. In REM, your amygdala, the emotion processing center, becomes highly active. The hippocampus, your memory hub, lights up. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for rational thinking and impulse control, quiets down. Your body becomes temporarily paralyzed. Your muscles are disconnected from your dreams to keep you from physically acting them out. But your brain is putting on an elaborate performance. This is the oniric brain, the dreaming brain, a strange, disjointed storyteller who draws from memory, imagination, and emotion to stitch together a narrative that may or may not make sense by morning. So, what does this achieve? First is memory consolidation. As we sleep, our brain sifts through the day's experiences, deciding which ones to keep. Facts learned for an exam stored. That awkward moment at the grocery may be tossed. In deep NREM sleep, declarative memories like names, dates, and facts are consolidated, while in REM sleep, residual memories like skills, sequences, patterns are reinforced. Think of your dreams as the brain's overnight writing system, but written in metaphors. Second is the emotional regulation. Researchers have found that REM sleep helps process and lessen the sting of emotional experiences. It's a way of revisiting difficult events but without the full biochemical stress response. You might dream of fighting a monster after a bad argument or find yourself endlessly searching for something lost. As Matthew Walker puts it, it's not time that heals all wounds, but time spent in REM sleep. Third is problem solving and creativity. Dreams don't just organize what's known, they innovate. Otto Lowy, a German physiologist, dreamed of the experimental method that led to his discovery of chemical neurotransmission, earning him a Nobel Prize. Paul McCartney claimed he woke up with the full melody of yesterday in his head after dreaming it. Dmitri Mendeleev envisioned the periodic table of elements in a dream, seeing the order of the elements before he could explain it logically. This phenomenon even has a name, dream incubation, the intentional practice of sleeping with a question in mind, hoping the answer flows up from the depths. Now, let's visit the strange borderlands, the in-between states. Hypnagogia occurs as you're falling asleep. The body begins to relax, but the mind is still somewhat awake. It's a fertile ground for hallucinations, flashes of light, sounds, and even micro dreams. Artists like Salvador Dali and Thomas Edison famously used this state to spark creativity. Dali even held a key in his hand while sitting in a chair. When he drifted off and dropped it, the noise would wake him, often in the middle of a strange, inspiring vision. Sleep paralysis, on the other hand, is more eerie. It happens when your brain wakes up during REM, but your body is still immobilized. You might feel pinned to the bed, see shadowy figures, or hear whispers in the room. Some scientists believe it's the brain struggling to bridge REM and waking, but many cultures see something else. In the Philippines, it's the bongmot. In Japan, it's the kanishibari. In Newfoundland, it's the old hag. Science calls it a glitch in the transition. Others call it hunting. Modern science measures chemical activity and neuron patterns. It gives us brain scans and sleep graphs, wave frequencies, and circadian rhythms. But it still struggles to explain why some dreams change lives, or why they sometimes feel more real than waking life. Maybe dreams are more than maintenance. Maybe they're messages, or even portals. The body sleeps, the brain sorts, but something else wanders. But long after neuroscience, our ancestors treated dreams like dispatches from the divine. Science may call it REM, theta waves, cognitive processing, but long before brains were sliced into left and right, our ancestors already knew what dreams were. Crossing, a message, a return. Across cultures and epochs, sleep was never just for rest, it was a sacred passage, an invitation to visit hidden realms, connect with spirits, or receive visions. Among indigenous communities, whether in the Amazon, the Arctic, or ancient Siberia, shamans often entered dream states deliberately, using drumming, chanting, or sacred plants. They sleep between worlds to meet animal spirits, ancestors, or guides. These were not just personal visions, they were journeys taken for the community to find healing, to receive warnings, to understand where the soul had gone and how to bring it back. In ancient Egypt, dreams were taken seriously enough to be recorded in dedicated scrolls, like the Remisa Dream Book, one of the oldest surviving dream manuals. Temples of healing, known as sleep temples, invited dreamers to spend the night within sacred grounds. They would sleep in hopes of receiving divine dream, a message from gods like Thoth or Serapis that would guide their healing or destiny. Similarly, in Greece, followers of Asclepius, the god of medicine, practiced incubation, sleeping in special chambers to receive dream prescriptions. These dreams were interpreted by temple priests and considered sacred communications from the divine. In many Filipino households, it's not unusual to hear stories of loved ones who appeared in a dream before something big happened, a warning, a farewell, or a blessing. The dream was not merely a product of memory, but a visit. In many indigenous cultures, dreams are treated as spaces for ancestral guidance, where the dead speak and the living must listen. Prophets across the world, from the biblical Joseph to the Oracle of Delphi, were said to receive knowledge not in waking hours, but in dreams. Are these just memories bubbling up, or have we always have one foot in another world? What if you're awake in the dream because a part of you never really went to sleep? Let's shift now from the passive dreamer to the active traveler, because some nights, something strange happens. You become aware that you're dreaming. You look around the dreamscape, the impassable colors, the oddly familiar places, and you know you're asleep, but you're awake. This is lucid dreaming. And for those who practice it, it's not just an accident. It's a skill, a doorway, a rebellion against the boundaries of consciousness. So, what happens in the brain during a lucid dream? Studies have shown that during lucid dreams, there is a heightened activity in the prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for logic and self awareness. It's as if a flashlight of consciousness switches on, right in the middle of the dream's surreal theater. Some researchers even call the dreaming mind in this state the oniric brain, a brain that is streaming with intention. In one fMRI study, participants were told to perform a specific action while lucid, like clenching a fist. The researchers observed that the corresponding motor areas of the brain lit up as if the body almost moved, but didn't. It's dreaming as a rehearsal space, a mental dojo. So, how to start a lucid dreaming? There are several techniques for learning to dream consciously. Some sound like magic spells, others feel like science experiments. All of them are invitations to sleep into awareness. First is mild or mnemonic induction of lucid dreams. Before you sleep, repeat a phrase like, I will realize I'm dreaming. You're planting a seed of intent into your subconscious. Wild or wake initiated lucid dream. This one's trickier. You keep your mind awake while letting your body fall asleep. With practice, you pass directly from waking into dreaming with full awareness. Third is reality checks. Throughout your day, ask yourself, am I dreaming? Try pushing your finger through your palm or checking the time twice. In dreams, clocks glitch and rules bend. These checks help trigger lucidity when they fail inside the dream. And lastly is dream journaling. Upon waking, immediately write down every detail you remember. Over time, your dream recall strengthens. You'll spot recurring themes, symbols, and dream signs that can act as cues for lucidity. Here's where the little word lens picks in. If you can walk through your dream with awareness, change the setting, speak to the guides, fly at will, then where exactly are you? Is it just your imagination or is it a parallel version of yourself? Some theories suggest that dreams, especially lucid ones, could be windows into another timelines, multiverses, or quantum selves. It's speculative, it's not proven, but it's wildly compelling. You've likely heard of the Mandela effect or collective post memories that feel too real to be wrong. Like people swearing they remember the Berenstein Bears, not the Berenstain, or the Monopoly man definitely having a monocle, which he doesn't. Some say these are glitches in the Matrix, others believe we're switching timelines. And dreams? They might just be in between space where these versions touch. And then there's the idea of quantum immortality, that in every timeline where you could have died, there's another version of you that didn't, a version that kept going, a version that might be walking through your dreams right now. Just as curious about, what if your lucid dream self isn't just your creation, but your reflection? Your dreams speak in the language of symbols, like secret code from your inner world. You dream of teeth crumbling in your mouth, you're flying through skies you've never seen, or running from something you never see. You wake up, heart racing, forehead dumb, and somehow it feels important, like a whisper from beneath your consciousness. But why do so many of us dream the same dreams, even across cultures, ages, and timelines? People speak of falling, flying, being naked in public, or forgetting an exam they never studied for. It's like a shared mythology born not from outside stories, but from deep within the psyche. Let's unravel these dream motifs, not to assign them a single meaning, but to see what they're pointing toward. These are common dreams and what they may mean. First is teeth falling out. This could symbolize anxiety, loss of control, or fear of aging. In some interpretations, it's about powerlessness or communication breakdown, how we chew on things or struggle to get our words out. Flying often reflects a longing for freedom or transcendence. Some say it's linked to lucid dreams or out of body experiences. Others see it as ambition taking flight or a craving to escape. Being chased might symbolize avoidance, running away from something unresolved, or sometimes the chaser is a part of yourself, a memory, a feeling, a truth you're not ready to face. Tidal waves or floods. These are deep emotions rising to the surface, suppressed grief, or overwhelming change. These aren't rules, they're mirrors. Dreams rarely mean just one thing. They speak in symbols because your psyche knows that metaphors go deeper than facts. Carl Jung believed that dreams weren't random, but they draw from collective unconscious, a shared well of images and meanings passed down across human history. In your dreams, you may meet the shadow, the repressed part of yourself, or the anima or animus, your inner masculine or feminine balance, or the old wise man, the child, the trickster, the hero, each one a symbolic force trying to lead you toward wholeness. In Jung's view, we dream not just to process the day, but to individuate to become our fullest, truest selves. And if we ignore our dreams, it's like refusing to read the news our soul keeps sleeping under the door. The shadow self. The shadow is all that we hide, even from ourselves. Anger, jealousy, desire, but also power, talent, truth. Dreams often cloak these things in monsters, strangers, or surreal plots. You're not being attacked, you're being invited to integrate. To meet the shadow is not to be afraid, but to recognize that's me too. And when you begin to accept those hidden pieces, your waking self changes. You become more whole, more honest, more alive. Dreams are emotional alchemists. They take feelings too big or complicated for words and spin them into strange tales. A breakup becomes a sinking ship, grief, a house with locked doors, joy, a sudden dance with someone you've never met. Science suggests that during REM sleep, our brain uncouples emotional intensity from memory, helping us process without relieving the pain. But maybe it's more than chemical balancing. What if your subconscious is not just a container, but a translator, a sacred scribe that bridges the body with its instincts and sensations, the mind with its thoughts and memories, the spirit with its longings and mysteries? And your dreams? They are letters written in symbols, meant only for you to read, but also timeless enough for all of us to recognize something in them. So, next time you wake up puzzled by a dream, don't rush to interpret it. Sit with it, notice how it feels, what it sears, what it's nudging you to look at. Because dreams aren't puzzles to solve, they're stories to listen to, and perhaps to grow from. When you dream of someone who passed, is it just a memory or are they really visiting? There's something different about those dreams, the ones that don't feel like dreams at all. You see them, your lola, your late friend, a relative who passed. They aren't always speaking. Sometimes they just sit beside you or hold your hand or stare knowingly. And when you wake up, the feeling lingers, not like a fleeting dream, but like you actually met. In the Philippines, we call this pagdalaw or a visitation from the departed, a dream or panaginip that brings not just a message but presence. Some say it's your subconscious missing them. Others will tell you plainly, no anak, dinalaw ka nga. They came because they had something to say or to say goodbye. There are countless stories within families, between friends, of dream visitations. Someone passed and a sibling dreams of them that same night, or multiple family members have a similar dream. They show up wearing the same clothes they were buried in or offering last words. Sometimes they smile, sometimes they warn. These dreams cut through skepticism because of how vivid they feel. They don't float like ordinary dreams, they anchor themselves in you. In some indigenous traditions, such dreams are sacred. A dream circle may be called, where the community interprets dreams collectively, especially if they point to illness, loss, or messages from beyond. In Africa, many cultures believe that dreaming of an ancestor is not symbolic, it is a direct communication. The boundary between waking and dreaming isn't a wall, it's a veil, thin enough for those with love and unfinished stories to cross. Have you ever heard stories of people dreaming of their own death days before it happened? Or perhaps a loved one dreams of something ominous and soon after something happened. In our culture, dreams often serve as omens, subtle warnings wrapped in metaphor. They may not predict with precision, but they nudge. They urge you to pay attention, to prepare, to make peace. And while modern logic might scoff, our ancestors didn't dismiss them. They listened. They believed dreams were a way to hear what couldn't be said in waking hours. What if dreams are a way of the dead to keep us alive, not just in memory, but in relationship? Through visitations, warnings, embraces in the dark, we remember, we listen. So next time someone who's passed visits your dreams, try this. Instead of brushing it off as imagination, sit still, thank them, ask them why they came, write it down. Because sometimes healing doesn't come in words, it comes in dreams. There are stories I won't tell just yet, not because I'm afraid, but because some dreams deserve to stay a little mysterious, at least for now. I've long believed that dreams aren't just electrical noise in the brain. There's a rhythm to them, a language, and once you begin to understand how they speak, you start to realize they may be saying more than we give them credit for. Most of the time, I'm just watching, like a character in a movie I didn't write, or a quiet observer following someone else's footsteps, only to realize I might be both. And in that world, time unravels. It's no longer aligned with a past and a future. It folds, loops, vanishes. Things happen without cause. Places exist without origin. And it all makes perfect sense. You don't need a reason, no anchor, no logic. Things simply unfold, and somehow you understand them. Not with your mind, but with something deeper. Maybe that's why dreams feel like more than sleep. Maybe it's why I return to the same places over and over. Familiar cities, long corridors, strange houses I've come to know like maps etched in memory, like parallel versions of life is still humming quietly in another realm. There's something I read years ago that stayed with me. It says, make peace in your dreams. I didn't fully understand it at that time, or maybe I do. But now I realize something. Dreams aren't mirrors, maps, messages, maybe even meetings. They bend time, blur reality, and sometimes offer healing we didn't know we needed. So, what if instead of running from the nightmares, I stood my ground? What if instead of hate, I chose love inside the dream? What happens if we start treating dreams not as random, fleeting fragments, but as a space where we can practice peace? What kind of world or what kind of self could we build if we choose faith over fear, even while we sleep? And that's where we'll end tonight's strange little stroll through the dreaming mind. But hey, don't let the wonder stop here. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love it if you could follow the Little Weird podcast, leave a kind review, and share this with a fellow dreamer who might need it. You can also support the show and explore more curious things through my newsletter, coffee page, and other dreamy extras. If you've had weird dreams, recurring symbols, or stories you've been itching to tell, my inbox is always open. I'd love to hear them, and maybe, just maybe, they'll end up in a future episode. Oh, and next time, we're not just dreaming, we're living. Eyes closed, body gone. We'll dive into out-of-body experiences, astral projections, and the CIA's bizarre remote viewing experiments. The body stays behind, but something else takes flight. Until then, stay curious, stay kind, and stay just a little bit weird. Thanks for listening.